welcome. I've been meaning to make this video for a long time. What we're going to do today is talk about a threat assessment, why you should have one, what it is, and how it can help you. Essentially, this is a threat assessment is a way to help you plan in an event of emergency. It's loosely based off of FEMA's threat assessment. Essentially, what's done there, or what used to be done, is FEMA would take every county in the United States and plan out a threat assessment for any type of emergency that would happen. So essentially what we're living in now is a constant state of emergency with a fascist oligarchy in place in the United States. And one of the tenets of one of the ways they gain power is by constantly overloading people with news stories, threads to follow, things to get upset about. So this is a way to cut through that. And basically, one thing they did is they told us many of the major steps and things they wanted to accomplish, and we could also gather most of what the broad strokes of their plans are from history and from what they've said they want to do. And while all the time news stories are coming out and things are going on constantly, some of the broad strokes and some of the major things there are to constantly escalate until they've, everyone's capitulated, they've worn everyone down, and they've, got control of everything. One thing that I think is going to happen is it's high, and what we're seeing is highly regionalized levels of threats. So, for example, your risk level to an average person, what they're going to see in Oklahoma is very different than what people are going to see in California. Obviously, any marginalized group will experience vastly different personal threats than what we're talking about today. Is like an overall assessment of the threat level to people across the United States and also regionally. So basically, the idea is to plan out all the things that you think might happen or that they've said they want to happen or that's happened in history, and put them in an order of escalation. So this, thinking of the analogy of the frog in the pot, you're the frog, and so you're trying to think ahead of what is it going to look like when the water's boiling. What is that thing that they're going to have done that's said that your frog was, you're cooked or whatever. So as before the Trump regime took power, we were already in a very a heightened threat status based on what was going on. This is just spitballing here, but some political corruption was going on both sides of the aisle. The U.S. was involved in foreign wars. There's class struggle, which was at what I would consider a moderate level. So even before, this is when Joe Biden wasn't in power, or when he was we were at a heightened threat level, and we were maybe even approaching this. So basically, I don't know if we want to go through each one of these, but if you look at these are events that either the Trump regime told us one way or another they wanted to do, or or where you started to see indicators of it happening. So going along, the goal here is to regularly update this, both with what you're seeing here as these situations change. Really, the main kind of things haven't changed a lot. They're still the same. Marginalized groups being affected. I would maybe add here that we're seeing in some isolated incidents of people getting grabbed off the street and disappeared without due process. So that's a major thing of where we're currently at. The date is April 2nd. So we are seeing that, although perhaps sporadic, possibly happening. So right now, since January, mid-January, we had maybe some kind of hints at they were going to label their opposition groups terrorist, and they're kind of working on that out right now. That's sort of a slow burn thing to really get that planned out. But so we're assessing here that we are somewhere between the orange 1 and orange 2. So this. My headset just turned off. My headset just turned off. I guess I have the background music or something to keep that going. Anyways, so each one of these levels, that you could call them temperatures of this proverbial frog in the pot. Each one of these has their own protocols. So if you have a anti-fascist book club group you're meeting with, people in your family that you talk to, you would want to, as a group, decide where you are, and then you would want to know exactly what to do when you're at this level. This is stuff like, okay, something happened and I'm now here. I'm going to only communicate on Signal. I'm going to I'm at a more risk of something happening to me and my family, so I'm going to operate in this way, that or the other. And we've found that, this is general. So all these apply to U.S. and global politics and the people living in that area. So these can affect regions and they can affect the whole United States. We also found, if there's an emergency situation, like the fires in LA, that's only really affecting maybe California. And, so we're going to have to assess that particular event differently. We might want to say that during that, there was times when the concern, we wanted to perform action there, maybe get, supplies down there to people. And maybe the roads are closed or something like that. So you have to have basically a separate one of these for regional stuff. And that's going to be, we might put, for the fires, we might put, this is a code red, temporary. We'll just do this as an example. Red, temp, fire. And then we might put the date. It was Feb 10th or something. 10th, and this is ongoing. So we'll put it like that, and then we'll put LA area, and then we need to know this might be its own directive. So we'll want to, as a group, 5 or 6 people, 2 people, 1 person, whatever. I mean, this is stuff in my mind is better done in a group. You decide, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to say it's too risky right now to deliver food? We'll reassess in 2 days and see if we can get something down there, see what the needs are, and stuff like that. So this is where you're going to plan your more direct actions. So this could be and you might find that if they're continue to disappear people off the street, deputize people, and they're gonna go into your neighborhood or something, that this might become prolonged, and you might have a directive. Okay, if it gets to this level, we're gonna try and get the marginalized people out or something. Stuff like that. You need to have directives for these like planned out. This doesn't really take a ton of time, but it's super important, and it also gives people an idea of where they stand. So right now, a lot of people, without anything like this, you're sort of left to react to the news of the day, and that can be any range of emotions and freakouts. So this can help you. You can say, okay, does this news of the day fit into any of these? Then do we need to add it, or do we need to like reassess it or whatever? But basically, if it doesn't fit into these and it's just kind of something, maybe you stick it in a file for, okay, I'll reassess this in a couple days. There's also, you can think of this like maybe you're going to plan out where you're going to go. You'd want to have some way, without, giving away your information or whatever, on how to plan and share out, where you're going to go, where you're going to meet up if you have to egress your current situation. So I recommend everyone have this for their state, have this for the country at large, and remember that none of this happens in a vacuum. We should be thinking about what is it going to be like in your community if the Trump regime attacks Greenland, Canada, or Mexico directly. What is it going to be like for you personally and for people that you care about? You're going to want to plan for those scenarios. Hopefully you don't have to use it, but remember that though the storm is howling, we're going forward till the end. Thank you.